Hey everybody, P.T. Turner from the Break It Down Show. Our guest today is John Preston. Normally he's a firefighter in Palo Alto, but he's also written a few hit songs that are smash hits in their own right. You've likely heard these on the radio. In this episode, though, things are a little different. John lost his father about 4 years ago, and then the sudden loss of their father, a strong patriarch, was a big shock to the family. John and his older brother, Mike, in particular, struggled to get through the grief. Well, that loss, when coupled with PTSD, proved to be a fatal combination for Mike. He's a veteran and a 20-year police officer, so a first responder. And about 3.5 years ago, he took his own life. When Mike committed suicide, it tore his family apart. His decision was sudden, and to those around him, it just made no sense. I mean, his funeral was packed full of people. He was beloved in his community. There were hundreds of people that counted him as a friend, but it just wasn't enough. Mike had lost the ability to reach out to save himself, and his world collapsed in until he finally took his own life. Now, this hits home for me in my world for a few reasons. Obviously, my own struggles with suicidal ideation daily. I mean, it's crazy. I'm not in any danger today, but I understand this topic. But also tomorrow, we lay Terry Martin, or Terry Marcacci, depending on how you know him, to rest. He's from my hometown. He's graduated with me in my class, and similarly, it was a shock, and he is beloved by so many people, has a lovely daughter that was clearly, the light in his life, and ultimately, it wasn't enough, and Terry took his life. Actually, he was alive when this show was recorded just a little over 2 weeks ago, and dead before I got home from that trip, and it was a short trip. Anyhow, my hometown has hundreds of people hurting now, because Terry lost his way. John's family has a lot of people hurting because Mike lost his way. And John will say it, he was on the same path, a self-destructive path. And I guess what I want to say to all of you in this moment is we all carry some kind of weight. And before things get too dark, spend time with your people. Whether you're call them on the phone or go out to lunch or make lunch for them and invite them over. Spend time together. Just the more we can be in proximity and contact is how you help someone before it gets too dark, before we lose our ability to reach out and isolate and fill our minds with the thoughts that push us off the edge. Reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, get them out of that moment. Mike and Terry's deaths are shocks to the community. They had so much to give and do, and so many people who loved them. This is a hard fight, and John is doing something incredible to battle suicide. John is deeply emotional about it. You'll hear that clearly throughout the episode as we both struggle through various moments. In January 2020, 4 years after his brother's death, John is going to start road marching from Palo Alto, 22 miles a day, 22 kilos on his back, all the way down to San Diego, and he won't be alone. People like Secretary Jim Mattis, show favorites Rudy Reyes, who's a riot, Scott Huesing, John Krotek, actor Michael Broderick, also actor Vinny Vargas, and even myself. We're going to join him along the way and take on parts of this. It's going to be so much media around this thing. It's really a big deal. If you want to support John, and I really encourage you to do this, especially if you're hurting from Terry's death or someone else in your life from suicide, go to 22andYou.net and then chip in whatever you can, or share that message, or just do something to be involved, because suicide is an isolated thing. Don't let people isolate themselves. Get out there and get after it. And help 22andYou.net. John and his people are going to help us all have the ability to fight this a little more. By the way, we're joined by Adam King, a fellow Palo Alto firefighter, and John's right-hand man who's helping handle the logistics, and it is an enormous challenge. You're going to hear a lot of great things in this episode. I thank everybody for what you do, and if you can, really help 22andYou.net. In the meantime, let's go get our guest in, John Preston.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay Moore.
This is Greg Proops.
This is Jordan Harbinger.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This is
East.
Sebastian Younger.
This is Rick Marotta.
This is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
Hey, this is Skunk Baxter.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
What's up? This is John Preston, and you are listening to The Break It Down Show.
And now, The Break It Down Show with John Leon Guerrero and Pete A. Turner.
you don't know who John Preston is, you should know already. That's what I just heard.
Right. That's a true story, bro.
First off, hat tip to John Krochak, who connected us because I produced this show and you were on, and I was like, I got to get on board with what you're doing. We're all going to find out about that in a second. But also bringing the whole network in. Rudy Reyes, Scott Huesing, just the whole crew is coming around what you're doing because it's powerful. We've not figured it out, so we need more things like what you're doing. Why don't you break the suspense and tell us what you're doing?
First of all, yeah, the whole crew, you say it, and you got people like Scott, you got people like Rudy, we've had Rocco, Jamie Kaler that's on Tacoma FD. You know, these are veterans that I've met and learned over my music career.
Michael
right?
Broderick, too, right?
Michael Broderick, yeah, that's another one. And these guys are in big time TV, you know, stuff we turn on at night, they're there, you know, and they're all hearing what we're doing, and they're like, oh my God, I want to be a part of that. Yeah. So about 4 months ago, I guess, somewhere around there, Adam King is in the house, by the way.
Adam King's in the house.
Hey, everybody, this is Adam.
Firefighter, paramedic, life coach, and everything extraordinary, running the logistics of what we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
So about 4 months ago, I came up with this idea, and I was like, whatever this is, I felt it, you know, and a little history on me, and I'll make this as short as possible because we'll probably get into it a lot more later. I am a family member that has survived suicide in my family. My older brother was a Marine veteran, a police officer for 20 years. He lost his battle with post-traumatic stress, and he's not here anymore. I've done a lot of things already. I've done a ton of things that say, I want to stop this. I want to be public about this. I speak about it. I'm wide open, right? I've had top 200 songs that are about this. I've had top 20 rock songs running in the charts with Metallica and the Foo Fighters, you know.
And let's slow down right here and say, like, what you're saying, these are hits.
These are hits.
Hits, song, like, that are way at the top of the chart and above other bands like the band you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, this is not like, oh, I wrote some songs. Like, that's great, but this is bigger than that.
Yeah, and Coach King tells me that I need to sit in that sometimes and bask in it and realize how cool that really is.
Yeah.
Because
right.
sometimes when you're in it, you don't necessarily understand what kind of gravity you're creating. And I'm noticing it now with announcing what we were doing. I'm seeing people saying, dude, you touched so many lives, and we can't wait. You don't know how many people are behind you. 4 months ago, I come up with an idea, and I'm emotionally like distraught about it. I actually called my girlfriend, and I'm on my way home from work this moment that it triggered. And I called her, and I said, if I decided that I was going to take however long it takes to do a 22-mile-a-day ruck, maybe, with, 22 kilos on my back, so what, 48 and a half pounds. And I went from Palo Alto to San Diego. Would you support that? You know, that was like the first question that came out of any of this.
Yeah.
Because I think in the past, I've always worried, am I being supported? You know, like, is everybody going to get behind what I'm doing? And that's been my own personal struggle, right? Like, because I know people are behind me, but I always feel like I'm alone in it, you know? By the way, first time I've never felt alone. I do not feel alone right now. I feel super supported.
Good.
So she says, yeah, I got your back. And I broke down, man. I was weeping. Out loud weeping. And my first thought was my brother, you know? And I didn't know from there, like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I want to do this now. What do I do? That was the same day I called her in between station 2 or whatever and station 3. And then we were both getting off duty from an overtime. And I talked to you then, and he was super stoked about it. Oh, we could do that, you know?
Okay, well, let's not go too fast. So how long has your brother been gone?
3.5 years right now. It'll be 4 years on the day.
And was it like a prolonged fight where you're
No.
Okay, so this was a sudden kind of...
No, I knew he had post-traumatic stress. He knew I had post-traumatic stress.
Right.
We knew we had issues.
Yeah.
The family knew we had issues. We lost our father 6 months before Mike's suicide. Right. And we all kind of did what brothers did and had some trouble with that, right?
Yeah.
Like, there was a hierarchy in the family that wasn't necessarily established anymore. So even though he was the oldest, there were some disconnects. And rather than be best friends like we were our entire life, we were kind of in a weird spot.
Hey, this is P.J. Turner from the Break It Down Show, checking in real quick to ask you this. John, Scott, and I all support Save the Brave with our time, our location, our effort, and our money. Each month we give a small amount. Do the same with us. Go to savethebrave.org. click on the donate tab, pick an amount that you want to come out each month, and they will handle all the rest. I stand behind these folks. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the show.
Rather than be best friends like we were our entire life, we were kind of in a weird spot.
Yeah. And you may not know this, but people suck at people dying.
Yeah, we're
They
terrible.
don't know how to do it.
I'm living in it right now.
Yeah.
Post his death, it's a lot worse than it was post Dad's death.
Right. Because you have to deal with that. And then you're like, well, now we're going to, what do we do? And no one knows like how to manage their own shit. And so then they get into other people's shit because that's the best thing.
Well, especially when the one that dies is everyone's hero, right?
Right.
And that's what happened with Dad.
Yeah.
Was this guy was a puppeteer running the whole family, and now we're all looking at each other like,
yeah,
who takes over? You know, and my oldest brother claimed himself to be the patriarch of the family, right?
Sure.
And because of that, when I knew he was going through stress and I knew he was going through problems, and even at some points projecting his own problems onto me, I thought to myself every time, this is Mike. He's got this. He's good.
Yeah.
That's my older brother, man. He taught me how to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like be cool. Hey, and I ain't even that good at it. I wasn't nearly as good as he was, you know?
You really have to fix that part of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we're working on it. We're all a work in progress.
I mean, a mustache would help.
Maybe that's
I had one this morning to shave it off.
This is the whole reason why the idea was so great right from the beginning. Is suicide is this thing that just sneaks up on people.
Yeah.
They feel alone, they feel miserable, and then they kill themselves.
Yeah.
And it happens to the veterans, it happens to the fire service, it happens to the police, it happens to doctors, it happens to everybody.
Sure. Yeah.
And when John came to me with this idea, I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm in.
And I want to go back to the thing you're talking about, like feeling alone and with your girlfriend. As I was walking over here, I was talking to my girlfriend, and I always felt like, oh, we're going to talk to this person. And she's not in the veteran community. That's not her family.
Yeah.
You know, she's totally different than me in that. And she's like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, well, because it's veteran suicide and I have to. I have to, like, I'm not working so hard that I can't stand it.
Yeah.
And if I can help someone stay alive, then I need to do that.
Yeah.
And in my head, and this is where we get all fucked up. I'm like, she's not going to dig this. She's not going to like it. And she's like, that's great. You know? And it makes me emotional now.
Yeah.
You know, because she was there the whole time. But in my head, and it's part of my PTSD, is I don't weigh things right.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a challenge. This is going to be, and it's not, the work is not a challenge. Like, the emotional part.
Well, and why does it have to be the same, right? I grew up in a house where my father worked multiple jobs to make sure that we stayed afloat.
Yeah.
And a lot of times he gave everything and never got anything in return. Why does it have to be that way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why can't I do all of that and still flourish and be successful and whatever, right? And why do I think that just because every other time I wasn't supported, that this time can't be different?
Yeah. And who knows if you were right that you weren't supported. It could have
right?
been that you
I could have been supported the whole damn time. I have no idea. But I got a divorce that's lined up because of the way I felt on that one, right?
Yeah.
Like you never know. And that was that circle. We're moved past that.
Yeah.
And we're in this world. And in this world, I feel more confident than I ever had.
Right.
And it's because of people like Adam. It's because of the support I have at home. Like, I know right now that I know nothing about logistics. I know nothing about fucking like putting together maps and getting permits or any of that, but that's happening. It's basically, a lot of it has already happened.
Yeah.
Because there's people in place. There's a team now versus what it was before, and what all of them keep telling me, Adam, and we haven't even got to the rest of the team that we're working with, people like Silver Rose Entertainment with Julia Ling and Micah Higley that are making films, and they're going to make our film. They all keep telling me the same thing. John, just go hike.
Yeah.
John, just go hike, which gives me this crazy confidence that everything else is going to work out because people just keep saying that to me.
Well, you have this idea. It's sort of like your song. You can write a song. A lot of people write songs.
Yeah.
I'll go sing in the song in the shower tonight that I'll make up on but no one's going to listen. Like, once you get that elevation where you get out of your own immediate circle, you didn't know me 3 weeks ago.
No.
You know, but now all of a sudden here we are sitting here in Palo Alto hanging out because there's something in this idea that's working, and you're just a magnet drawn to people. So you just be the magnet and let us all pile on and
Yeah.
and push, you know?
Yeah, and I call it magic, and Adam didn't believe me for years. Like, we'd sit in the medic van and talk about, like, how you could just think things into magic, and then now being part of a project with me now, he's kind of got a chance to see magic actually work, you know? And
Should I lay in like, you can do magic
Totally.
underneath? Get the American.
Oh, it's magic.
Oh, that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the magic thing is pretty interesting, actually. I don't know that I still believe in magic like John does, but we have had some pretty incredible experiences. So John was talking about permits and the logistics, and I had the privilege of designing the route. And on the face of it, it's not that complicated. He's got to walk 22 miles a day, and he's got to go from Palo Alto to San Diego.
I need you to go out to El Camino Real,
And
right
we're gonna
face,
just
and
walk.
don't
Just
stop.
go, yeah. Just go.
And so planning that out was really interesting, actually, because as we were planning it out, looking at Google Maps, I see like little stores pop up, and I'm like, that's a potential sponsor. Or, hey, what's this guy's story? And I look into them, and they've done veteran support stuff in the past.
Yeah.
So we have a whole list of people we haven't even had the chance to contact yet that we're hopeful will support us in some way, and I'm pretty confident they will. We've reached out to multiple government agencies that are issuing permits for filming and this, that, and the other thing, and got nothing but positive responses.
Right.
Everybody can get behind this idea because we all, whether we're veterans or not, have been affected by suicide.
Yeah.
And so it's been awesome, actually. It's been a pleasure just to reach out to people and say, hey, John's going to be hiking, and we're doing this so that we can save some lives, and we can take care of our community, we can take care of our people.
Yeah.
And everybody's just gotten on board. And so whether that's magic or not, I don't know, but it's sure working.
Yeah, yeah. It is working. It is magic. Magic takes hard work. You got to build a box. You got to put a lady in it. You got to make it disappear. You got to bring her back,
Yeah.
So there's a lot in that. 22 miles each day?
22 miles, except for the last day.
Last
day,
Last
do a
day
full
is
marathon.
27 miles.
So
I tried. So I was explaining to someone today. I think it was Matt. Like being Matt. Like you got people here that they've known me like the last 9 years. So they're just shit givers, right? So Matt was being Matt, and I was like, yeah, like the last day is like 5 miles longer than the rest of everything else. And he's like, whatever, that's like 5 miles, bro. And I'm like, Nick was there, and Nick runs marathons and stuff like that. And Nick looked at me and was like, oh my God, 5 miles. Like, yeah, that's going to be rough because now I training, when you get about to 16, it hurts.
Yeah.
Everything hurts. And those last like miles to get to 22, you feel like you're going to break into pieces. And right now I'm trying to hit my stride, right? I want to be in full stride. By the day we step, I want to make 22 miles my bitch and just over and over and over be able to do that. And I know there's going to be complications, and I know there's going to be fights, but ultimately I will be in the most peak shape that I can be in for that. Yeah. And what's cool is like I still kind of look squishy and like it's because I stopped weight training, I stopped doing all that, and I'm literally like I'm in a fight and I plan to win the fight with an arm bar. So all I trained with for the last 6 months was fucking arm bars. So I'm gonna light someone up with an arm bar, and that's what I'm doing. I'm putting a pack on and I'm hiking, as much as possible.
50 pounds every day when you do your 22 miles.
Correct.
22 kilos.
22 kilos. It's like 48 and a half. But I'm actually right now training. I've got the pack weighs that much. Yeah. And then I'm putting my hydration in. Okay. So it starts at 22 kilos. Yeah. And ultimately, I think with a full Camelback plus a water bottle is what I carry, a full Camelback and then a 24-ounce water bottle. When I'm starting at like 55, 56 pounds, somewhere around there.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because I don't want to go lighter and put my water in, and then like I'd rather prepare myself to be a little heavier.
Right. And then are you going to take some weight off and just give your body a rest for a little while?
Nope. For me, I think we talked about like conceptually kind of like a marathon training. Yeah. Like, where the last week we'll probably lay off and recover a little bit physically. I just went, I don't know if you saw on social media or anything like that, I just went up to Arrowhead. That was super cool. Those Blackbird Anthems video shoot. So we were hanging out with Rudy and Julia and doing all that. But I was only hiking a few miles a day because like there was so much going on and just the time to go out. So I would hit a trail like in Arrowhead, a lake trail or something. So I was getting 3 to 4 miles in. Yeah. And I felt like I had like days off. I felt amazing.
Yeah.
Only doing 3 to 4 miles. It was incredible. So
how long is it taking you to do 22 miles?
that is, I think I did it in 7 hours, 6.5 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that.
Right.
It's going to be a lot slower than that. That was oh my God, my son has a hockey game. I got to hurry up and get done. So I'm basically almost running like most of the pace.
Yeah.
And that was a 20-mile day. That wasn't 22, right? So what are we looking at?
We're planning on 8 to 10 hours.
8 to
a day.
10.
Right.
Yeah.
Some days, day 2 in particular, is going to be a lot of elevation. He's got to go up and over the Santa Cruz Mountains to get over to Highway 1, and then he's going to go down the coast.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to do that, it's going to be a pretty gnarly hike. That's probably going to be a long day. Most of the rest of the hike's fairly flat. He's got some other hard days down the road, and weather will be interesting and all that other good stuff.
Sure.
But we're looking at 8 to 10 hours, closer to 8 most of the time, because we need those 2 hours for recovery and recuperation.
I did. I don't know if you know about Nijmegen, but it's a walk that they do in Holland.
Okay.
It's 25 miles every day. And like the Army does it, and they're like, all right, motherfuckers, listen, I know this is a people's walk, but we're going to win this shit. And it's not a competition.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's armies from all over the place, and civilians, and they just go out and they hump for 4 days in a row. But to get to the starting point, you got to leave the little military camp. So there's sometimes 5 miles extra.
Yeah.
On each end. So you're like, holy shit, we did so much things.
Yeah.
And you're right. As soon as you finish, like, I need my feet up and I need to be out.
Yeah. And
all
that's,
the way out.
That's the scary of it, right? Because we're planning some stuff that is, high level people we're meeting with, and some places we're going to have a speaking engagement, or I think we plan to meet with Blackbird Anthem and play a show down in LA. Like there's things that are going to happen that I'm not going to get to rest sometimes, know, and we'll see how that goes on the road. We've kind of talked about that. We're going to see what happens.
I would give you 2 hours as a norm every day.
But we're thinking sometimes, okay, half of the hike falls at this church, right?
Right.
Then we'll go and we'll do a speaking engagement.
Yeah.
We'll come in and we'll talk, or we'll do something, because I don't just want to put on a pack and go and not share what we're learning from what we're doing, right? Because this is something that people spend their whole life talking about and not doing. There's cliffs that we get to jump off of. I did that years ago with my music, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was scared to death of that.
Yeah.
I was scared to death of that. I thought that was like something I could never do. I grew up on a farm in Kentucky. I grew up without money. I grew up without ever being told that I could be a top 20 rock artist.
Right.
That's not real.
Yeah.
But I grew up loving rock and roll, and I thought that I could be that great one day. You know? And you have to jump. You're standing on the edge of the cliff. You have to jump. And we've done it with the hike where we've jumped and we're swimming at this point. And I'm going, hell yes, we're going to do amazing things. That's the thing of it, right? It's not we're out there hiking and we're doing it to do it. It's we want to turn the attention of an entire community of veterans and first responders, turn their attention to us and say, it's game time. It's time to not just bring awareness. I don't give a fuck about awareness. I'll be honest. I don't care about awareness. I want to save people's lives. I want myself, my nieces, my nephew, my sister-in-law, my mother, my other brother, us that wake up every day with someone in our life that for some reason beyond my vision decided they didn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want those people to exist anymore, because I'm not martyring the person that did it.
Yeah.
I'm martyring the people that have to keep walking.
And here's what we know about suicide. Like, if you've got your scale of good feelings and bad feelings, you've now got a thumb on your bad feeling side. Yeah. It's just always there. You have to try to find a way to balance it. And so you do have to, we don't know how to deal with these things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I've nearly killed myself, because of PTSD. Yeah. I'm not in any danger right now, but I feel it every day where I'm like, today could be the day. And I know how to deal with it, but that wasn't easy to get there.
Well, I wrote something yesterday. My brother saved my life. My brother's death saved my life. I was drunk. I was really drunk. Like, my dad had died and I was blackout drunk. I'm sober now 3.5 years. I was able to get back into my own mind and understand who I am and remember that. But there were times that I remember, and I wrote this yesterday and I put this out on Facebook. I remember thinking the code to my gun safe, thinking the code, the numbers, boop, 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 and how it went, and reaching in and racking around. And I remember thinking that over and over and over again, like it's that easy. It's that easy. Just punch that number and I can punch it all in and it can just lights out.
Yeah.
You know, I was sick when I wrote that. You know, I was sick when I wrote that the other day because it's not who I am anymore. You know,
Right.
And I've learned so much just by going after things and trying to help other people and being forward on an objective. If it weren't for the decision my brother made, in reality of it, he beat me to the punch. If it would have gone the other way, he'd probably be doing the same shit I'm doing right now. And because he was an incredible person, you know, he was an incredible person, and he just got caught up in a monster that he couldn't beat, and it defeated him that day. But it defeated him with a 40 caliber round in his brain.
Right.
You know, and you don't come back from that.
You don't.
You don't come back from that, and we see it unfortunately in our job. When you show up on those scenes, those are the gnarliest, most evil in the air. You can feel it in a room. There was something bad there that took that person away.
Yeah.
You know, but how do you get through it? And I think what we're doing is going to help people. We want to show people that you can move forward. You know, move forward. Find something to do and go after it. Yeah.
I think the other thing is we want people to know that people think about it, right? You just said, like, it could be today.
Yeah.
You could have those thoughts, and if you don't redirect that train,
you
don't get your mind going in the right place, you can end up on the wrong end of that gun.
And
the wrong end of those pills or whatever it is.
And when I talk to when I get my therapy, I no longer fear talking about that. Before I was worried that like it might impact my ability to work.
Right. Yeah.
I might be
especially in our job.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like, you know, and you don't know if the VA is going to trick you. Like, ha, now you can't. You know, you're like, right?
Yeah.
It's a real
and
thing.
there's so much like stigma and rumor and like of what is real and what isn't real.
But I also know that my peers that have done that have had gates in front of them. They've made a choice: left, right, left, right, left, right. And I'm like, I don't know what gate I'm on. I have no idea where I'm at in this maze.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I always said, like, how do I arrest? So I stop picking a gate and I just turn around and go the other direction, you know, or whatever. That's how I reason out in my head. Like, you're making decisions, you're on a path, and all of a sudden you've got cliff, pill, gun. And I'm like, I don't want that.
You know what's crazy?
Right. We want to recognize that those are just thoughts that you're having. That's all they are. Is and that is not you.
But they're compulsions, though.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
They are not, but they are not you.
Well, substance helps, you know, energize those compulsions too.
Yeah.
But then you're hearing Adam talk about this, obviously from some sort of life experience and understanding and knowing it. But Adam's been substance free his entire life.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not just substance that creates it, but substance does help push it forward, right? Sure. Like, my thought to that is carry a sledgehammer, dude. Like, knock the wall down or the gate or whatever's in front of you, and go past that. You know?
And that's why, like, when I say, like, I consider it, I'm aware of it every day.
Yeah,
I'm not in danger today.
Yeah,
but I do know that it will be waiting. I've accepted that, and I build my defense around that. But it took a lot of work, to get to that point.
My feeling is, and my experience with suicide has been, that silence is the precursor to the event.
Hey, this is P.A. Turner from Lions Rock Productions. We create podcasts around here. And if you, your brand, or your company want to figure out how to do a podcast, just talk to me. I'll give you the advice on the right gear, the best plan, and show you how to take a podcast that makes sense for you, that's sustainable, that's scalable, and fun. Hit me up at pete@breakitdownshow.com. Let me help. I want to hear about it.
My experience with suicide has been that silence is the precursor to the event.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
people
when people are saying, hey, I'm having a problem, that's not when they kill themselves. It's when nobody knows, when they say everything's okay, when they're afraid to talk about it, because there are consequences. Like, we're not going to pretend like stuff does happen to people. But when we don't talk about it, when Mike didn't talk about it, Mike ended up dead.
Yeah.
And so the reason this idea struck me so strongly is we need everybody to know, but in particular our veterans, that, like, if you have those thoughts, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're not crazy. You didn't lose your marbles. You're not a bad dude.
Right.
You just had a thought. We've all had that thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's very few people in this world who haven't thought about it.
Yeah. And I've had to learn it. This is the crazy things I've had to rewire, because I've got a lot of combat time. And most of the time I was out, I would talk to these people that have lived these horrible lives, and all their woe just comes at me. And I was like, oh, I'll collect all this woe. And it's like, I got
it's super complicated.
Right. Yeah. So I was like, apart from my own damage, I've got all this other stuff in there.
And unfortunately, I'm in a spot where I get a lot of that, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
And I keep my social media open. Like, if somebody's got a problem, hit me up, dude.
Yeah.
That's how I live. But I have a boundary of how far I get involved, right? Like, and he and I have actually had conversations where I'm like, hey, dude, I got this guy. This is what's going on. What do you think I should do in it? Because I don't want to get too deep. Because once you dive too deep, you start eating their emotions, right? Like if you're an empath at all, you feel what they're feeling, and so I work it to a certain level, right? My first thing is we have that conversation. Hey, this isn't cool. Don't do this. You know, we kind of try to work out whatever's going on, and I'm not a therapist, so I'm not really necessarily very good at that. I try. And then from there, it's what's the next level? What's the next step? I need to put you in that direction, and I have to take my hands off. I'm sorry, and I love you, and I'll check back in with you in a year. But that's how I have to handle it when it becomes personal.
Yeah, because you have your own things to
right.
I got to keep me alive.
And I mean, look, I can't accomplish what I'm doing, and I can't make it to certain heights and things if I'm constantly focused on someone's individual life. But at the same time, we've been fortunate to touch individual lives. We've helped individual people. We've put people, just go on my Facebook feed and read some of my posts and go through like the comments of videos that we have. There are people that are saying, John saved my life. John's song saved my life. Dude, we're just scratching the surface. And what we're going to do with what we're doing moving forward, not just the hike, the after of this hike, the film that's going to come out, the impact that we're going to make, it is more than I could have ever imagined I could have ever gone in my entire life 3 times over. And we're there, and it's going to happen.
It's great because part of the thing is like you said, awareness is great, but how do you teach someone to not do it? Like, how do you build good friends around you who know you better than you know you, and they have the capability of turning you around or giving you a sledge, and they know like less drinking, more talking, let's go whatever it is.
Right.
They take you out of that gate. Like, quit walking through these gates. Let's go this way.
Let's go this way. Yeah, and so that's kind of my background role in this. Is John's the face of everything that's going on, and my and I've told this to John multiple times. My goal in this every time is to make sure that when we pass Bill, who lives somewhere in California, that Bill can have a conversation, maybe for the first time, with his brother, sister, mother, wife. Say, hey, this suicide thing? And they're like, yeah, you're a veteran. How do you feel about that? And then he can say, I struggle with this.
Yeah.
And then we can open that conversation up. So it's not about awareness, because everybody knows suicide's a problem.
Yeah.
It's about getting that guy to talk to his wife or his brother about what's really going on.
It's really hard with your significant other because you don't want to burden her, in my case, or in your case, her. You don't want to like, hi, we've got enough other stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
So I don't take that to my girlfriend, but I do take it to somewhere, right? But I've had to learn all these things. When we had Rudy on the show, and Rudy was talking about having a gun in his mouth, and I'm like, he has no fear of talking about this.
Yeah.
I've got to get over myself.
I got to get to there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Rudy's a special character too, right? And I think he knows that he's a special character.
Yeah.
He's got an opportunity to reach a mass and get a lot of respect in doing it. So he's helping and touching and saving lives and everything that he's doing. And that's why it's super cool that like he's like, yeah, dude, how many days do you want me to hike? When can I be there? What can I do?
Yeah.
It's like, we know we're doing something really special.
Sure.
Like we're doing something really special. I think to the narrative that Adam's saying, I've had individuals in the past where it opened up, right? Like they've called me, I'm going to take my life. I don't know this guy. I'm going to take my life. I'm done. And I'm like, dude, call me. We're on the phone. By the end of the call, you're looking at, I've got mom calling me the next day. I've got dad calling me the next day saying, we had no idea, but whatever you did brought him to us.
Yeah.
We are going to take care of this, and that's the best scenario, right?
That's what we're
because
driving at.
The best thing about that is a lot of times the family doesn't know.
Right.
Yeah. If family never knows,
Yeah.
they never understand. They don't know what's going on. So when we actually enlighten the family with what's happening, where you were my family, where when my brother killed himself, we all said, what?
Yeah.
That was my first response.
Like, you're wrong.
Mike who? No,
Yeah.
Mike who?
Yeah.
Was what I said.
Yeah.
Mike who?
Wow.
Who the fuck are you talking about? I only know one Mike. And there's that the family never knows, right?
Yeah.
When Mike shot himself, we were blown away.
Yeah.
And not just me. There was, by the way, my brother was a fucking hero. Like, he was a hero. We had a funeral that lasted 9 hours.
Jesus.
Because people lined up outside of the largest church in Boone County, Kentucky. And that's a big church. That's Boone County, Kentucky. God darn it.
They got a lot of Jesus out there.
Right? A lot of Jesus. And people lined up in 0-degree weather outside.
Wow.
They're already lined up outside of the building to wrap around to go in to visit my brother one more time. I would say that 80% of the people out there met him, knew him, and had touched them personally, right? He was an incredible person. I heard so many stories about who he was and what he had done for other people.
Right.
I didn't even know, right?
Yeah.
So that happens. The entire northern Kentucky shuts down to fucking escort him from one side of town to the other to go be cremated, right? We left the church to go to the funeral home, and every street for 15 miles was lights and sirens, you know? So you have this incredible person that we all knew was amazing, and now he's gone.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of times the veteran of the family is the strong one, right?
It's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that puts extra pressure on them. So to have them be able to tell mom and dad, hey, I got something going on. And maybe my brother felt like he couldn't do that anymore because my dad was gone or whatever. But to have them to be able to do that, we're shaking things up. We're giving a new avenue that isn't going to be there otherwise, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I want to ask all of the obvious questions about your brother, but, you know, the answer is that reality is it's too late for all those questions.
No.
Like,
there's no question to ask.
He's gone. You know?
Yeah. And trust me, it took me years to process that.
And you have to go. And now the whole entire family is going through death and dying, grieving for your dad. Oh, and by the way, all this damage comes along, and now you got to do it with your brother. And, you know, that whole cycle, it works out its own pace.
Yeah.
And then something else can come in and reset you, and you can stay in that cycle for a long time.
I worry about my other brother sometimes. He's older than me as well. He was the middle.
Yeah.
I worry about him sometimes just because he says, I never got to grieve dad.
Right.
You know, and that's how he feels about the whole situation. And people need to understand, like, he's pissed off at Mike. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not glorifying Mike. I'm not giving Mike a high five. I don't talk to him. I talk to my dad, you know, but I don't talk to Mike right now. I don't know if when we're going to get there.
Sure.
You know, maybe at the end of this hike, I can actually say something to him.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but like right now I talk to dad, and dad can communicate to Mike if he needs to, you know, but there is a lot of broken going on. I've talked about this in other interviews. I don't care to share I don't care not to share this because it needs to be known. I have twin nieces that don't talk to each other.
Right.
Twins.
Yeah.
I have family members that are all smashing each other's heads together.
Yeah.
Because of one night, a pile of thoughts, and the inability to stop those thoughts from taking full manifestation.
Yeah.
And now 4 years will be the day we step on this hike. 4 years.
Wow.
And I promise you, I will be as ripped on that day emotionally as I was the day it happened.
Yeah, I promise you will. You're going to get hit a lot.
Yeah.
You're hitting me with your hitting.
Yeah.
It's heavy. Let's talk a little bit about the support that's around you, because there's a lot of people that are jumping on board. There's a lot of big players that are already committed.
Unbelievable, man. We talked about all of our celebrity friends. One of the first people I saw that I went and I sat down with and said, help me. Because this was before we signed with Silver Rose Entertainment, Veteran Powered Films, before I met Julia, before I met Micah. I actually called River Rainbow. I don't know if you know River. River did the volunteers. He went over and was a medic fighting ISIS, and he shot that series that ended up on Audience Network. And he went with Ricky Schroeder to shoot the fighting season multiple times, right?
Wow.
So River knows how to shoot these kind of films.
Yeah.
His PTS right now is through the roof, so he's not able to work on the film, so I couldn't get him until post. He's going to work with us at the end.
Yeah.
But I went and I sat down with River and said, what do I do? You know?
Yeah.
And again, here's someone that's this incredible person that has all this stuff, and he's like, I'm going to tell you everything I know. And then after he broke it down like that and gave me a little bit of confidence, right? So now River's going to come out and hike, you know, and he's going to tell his story, which is a crazy story,
Yeah.
So we've had all these different things that just keep happening. You want to talk about the miracle of? This was part of the magic. And
I don't know. I think this story really belongs to you, but maybe I can set it up a little bit.
It's part of the magic. And Adam, what do you call it?
We can call it the miracle of Mattis. Is that what we're going to call it?
Yeah, we'll go with that. And we haven't announced this, so it's yours. Right? Yeah.
Here we go. Breaking news.
We're not going to say any dates because we want to keep that low.
Sure. Right. Yeah. Gotta have a low profile on that.
Yeah.
So 2 months ago, we were working. He was actually at a different station. He and I normally work the same station, but he was at Station 3 and I was at Station 6. And we got word at like 5 p.m. that General Mattis was going to be visiting campus and had specifically requested to visit with fire and police personnel, particularly those that had served in the military. And sure enough, the next morning, John showed up. We got there. John had written a letter that he sent to me, and we kind of went over real quick, which was truly inspired.
Yeah.
And I'll let John finish the story.
So we met him. Like, we hang out with Mattis. He came in. It was pretty cool. First of all, like, let's just say this guy, he has presidential presence, right?
Yeah.
Like I wish he'd run.
I wish he would too. He's too smart too, though.
Too smart too, right? People hate him in another year after he did run.
Yeah. Impeach him. Oh, Jesus Christ! Come on.
Yeah. But politics aside,
yeah,
this is just an incredible person,
right?
You know. And I served under him in Iraq. When I went, he was commanding whole 1st Mardiv, right? So his letter that he had written for us to go into combat, when I wrote my letter, I actually referenced that letter because there was a line in that kind of touched me, and it was, you know, the about carrying the weight on your young shoulders for the rest of, you know, world. You know, everything that we're doing right now is all on us, you know. So I wrote in this letter, and I did not mention the hike. I told him, "Sir, pleasure to meet you. I served under you. You know, it's an honor." We laughed. We joked a little bit. You know, it like probably had a little different rapport than everyone else in there. Like I was cracking jokes, and then Barry was constantly barraging him with political questions. So, like I would make fun of Barry. You know, so there was a rapport. And this is a room full of people, right? And just a bunch of guys listening to a wizard do magic, right?
Yeah.
And it was super just cool to hear some of the things he was saying, his perspective on stuff, like America's biggest threat, right? He was asked that. What do you think our biggest threat is right now? And this is what I took from it mostly. He said, we don't treat each other good anymore.
Yeah.
We as a people no longer treat each other kind.
Yeah.
From the greatest killer in history, right? This guy has like orchestrated some of the best assaults in U.S. history, and his whole thing is Americans are not treating Americans right. It wasn't we need to worry about Iran or ISIS and no, of course those are real problems.
Sure,
but we got to treat each other better.
It's 100% true. And actually, this is where I say this. So it was on Facebook of the anniversary of it. It was like 4 years ago. We had Sebastian Younger on, and he's like, "Here's your task. You guys don't need to go and do anything else anywhere else. You need to get us, rally us in the middle."
Yeah.
Because we're all assholes to each other.
Yeah.
You know, we're not decent to one another. We can't tolerate one another. It makes us a bunch of bigots.
Yeah.
So he's right. And it's absolutely, because people are talking about a civil war. I'm not trying to make this a political thing, but you all don't understand what that means.
Yeah.
You said the first Mardiv guy? Yeah. Like, you just, which side am I on? Where's the enemy?
Yeah.
We don't want that.
Yeah. No.
We've all seen too much of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. So they asked Mattis that. He's there.
Yeah. So I walked up to the security guard, which I know knew our guy. That's how it all happened in the first place. Said, "Hey, this is a private man. You know, I served under him. You think you can kick this to him later?" Right?
Yeah.
I'm laying in bed napping.
The next morning.
The next day. And I get a phone call. It's not even morning. It was like 2:00 in the afternoon or something. It was like an afternoon nap for sure.
Right.
And
he likes his afternoon naps.
I answer the phone. And it's like, "Hey, John, Jim Mattis here.
Lock your body."
And I'm like, "Oh, shit," you know? And my girlfriend and my son are both standing there doing a dance. And, like, we're just like, oh, my God. And had already went to his secretary, had already plotted out a date, had already told us what he was doing and said, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, whoa.
What? Yeah.
This is a Secretary of Defense, dude.
Yeah.
This is like in our community, like a legend. You know, like probably the largest living legend in military time, right? You know, maybe Marcus or somebody like that.
Maybe.
But when
you're talking about Marcus, Colin Powell, someone who you can say their name and you're like, oh yeah, right.
Yeah, you say Colin or Mad Dog or or Powell or Mad Dog or Marcus, right?
Yeah,
those names all ring.
We're running out of names now. Yeah.
Yes. What's this? Chris Kyle, right? Like somebody that everybody knows. And holy shit. He's calling my phone.
Yeah.
Like I can text him now. What's up, Jim Matt?
What's up, Jim?
You know, like, not that I would ever do that, but conceptually, that's a real probability now.
Right.
You know, and 4 months ago or 2 months ago at that time, I had an idea.
Yeah.
You know, so magic is happening, and it's happening at full force, and a lot of really cool people want to be part of that.
Sure.
And the people that I knew prior are all on board, but then there's people like Scott. I didn't know Scott, you know, but now Scott's on board and he's super stoked about it. And like that's the energy that's here.
Well, let's talk a little bit about like what that part of the Scott thing, because, you know, we support Save the Brave. Like they're our official charity charter. Right?
Yeah.
And they're going to be partnering with you guys in the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So the partnering thing is super cool. Like, did you come up with this idea? Did I come up with this idea? Did Julia come up with this idea?
I'm not sure.
Someone came up with the idea.
Somebody did come up with the idea.
We're going to raise money when we're going, right? And I think the initial idea came because people kept saying, where do we go to donate?
Yeah.
Right? And right now you're donating to the cause. You're donating to us getting everything orchestrated. So 22nu.net, boom.
Yes, go. Donate.
22nu.net, yeah. 22 and YOU.
And that will be in the show notes too as well, so you guys can find it.
And while we're rolling, we're going to keep that active, right? And we have 26 days. So day one, I am not giving anything. Day one, we're just getting through day one.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a big show, you know? So we just need to get through day one. And moving forward in 5-day blocks, we're giving 5 nonprofits the opportunity to use our hike as a fundraiser.
Nice.
Every press that I do during that time period, we are talking about their nonprofit and what they do to help. Obviously, what we're doing and all of that too, but we're going to help promote them, and we're going to send them to their websites or our website to donate directly to them. And we're doing that. We've got right now 4 out of 5 already in. So Save the Brave was the third. I have Adapt-A-Vet, which has helped me through my career immensely, and Project Unbreakable, who those two actually just came up. I flew to Toronto and shot a music video, and they were like 100% on board with making that work and happen for me. So everybody that's been supportive like that, obviously, we're bringing into this and saying we're going to do everything we can to give back to you. And we love like the fact that it's all different types, right? This isn't just suicide. Adapt-A-Vet, building adaptable homes for people and creating ramps and things like that is preventing suicide, right? When you have a 75 or 65-year-old Vietnam vet and he can't get in and out of his house anymore, and that's what it becomes, you're breaking his will, you're breaking his mind. This is a warrior that now has a broken will. We might head down that route. They come in, they spend a little bit of time of their money, and they fix that for him, and they keep him strong and living, right?
Yeah.
So there's different avenues and aspects, and we're utilizing all that. Project Unbreakable doesn't just work on transitioning and therapy. They're doing it for first responders as well. So we have all these different people, that we're bringing on board, and like it's incredible.
It's incredible.
So I told him, I think we can raise $1 million. I think we can. With the time and the press and everything that's going to happen while we're hiking and the people behind it, we could do that easy. We could do that easy.
Yeah, I wouldn't even put a limit. I'd just like go out and get it all. All of it. Yeah. So everybody can contribute by going to give the website again.
22nu.net.
22. And if you can't figure that out, just hit me up at P-Day Turner on any social media, or get you on it.
Yeah, John Preston Music.
Right. Super easy.
You'll see everything. I'm posting about it right now. I'm starting to get it to where we're getting ready to run press too. I had some TV the other day on accident. Basically, John put out Straight Outta Combat. Yeah. And the next day I had a message from NBC in the Bay Area saying, "Hey, you good to shoot this week?" And I was like, "Oh, yes."
There's a guy that I've come across. He's a vet, Navy EOD. He just put his show up the other day. Walked into a room in Syria, bomb went off. He wasn't working on it. It was just a bomb to blow people up, right? So he didn't even know it was there. Made him a quadriplegic, took an eye, and took his voice. And so he's struggling. You know, quadriplegics are always fighting for their life.
For sure.
And this not even been 2 years since he got blown up. So he only got to the hospital this spring and has been back 3 times with pneumonia. This guy is fighting all he can, right? Ask me how much weekly care he gets for his mental well-being. Ask me that. Because the number is going to be really close to fucking 0.
Oh, my goodness.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
It shocks me.
Physical care is there.
Yeah, for
obviously,
sure.
Yeah,
right.
Keep him alive.
Someone from the command stops by every now and then. My mouth is like, oh.
How do we fix that, right?
Right.
And here was so I talked to General John Michelle the other day. That's a bad dude right there. General Leadership, the blog, I wrote for him for a while, so having him involved in this. First of all, how many times have we said the word general? My father would just be tickled to death that we know and talk to all these generals now. That is the coolest thing ever. So General John Michelle, how do we make sure that goes to the right place?
Seriously.
So it doesn't need to be Congressman so-and-so and, General so-and-so. Like, not everybody's John Michelle, right?
Right.
Most of them are like, suck it up, weak dick. That's most of our upper leadership of the military.
Right. Which is a mentality that kills people.
Exactly. And that's why we're dropping off left and right, right? So how do we figure out where that money goes? And doing something like we're doing where we're creating characters, right? We're creating people that now, in a pop culture world that we live in, if I'm a top 20 artist and I'm now a Golden Globe winner for some amazing documentary that we're shooting, and now I have the ability to tweet and reach 1 million people, and they're like, what did John say today? We will control where that money goes. We will control where that money goes. You look at just fame versus contact, right? Kanye West can send a tweet and he can go meet with President Trump. I need to be Kanye West then. Because we need to make sure this money goes in the right hands and we don't deal with that problem anymore. That we don't deal with, why is this guy not getting mental health support?
All this attention, because currently the whole Donald Trump pulling people out of Kurdistan, everybody's wanting to send folks to Kurdistan to get blown. But that's where he got blown up. So if you guys are cool with sending us there, you better be cool with how this guy's being treated. And people can't even bother to listen to a fucking half-hour show about this guy's life. And he can't even talk. His wife's got to talk for him. By the way, 4 kids. The first kid has cerebral palsy. Needs constant care. Have they got enough on their plate? You're telling me. So like, these are the things where, like, it may be the best thing for him is to turn the lights off because there's so much damage there. But let's let him fight first. Let's get him help. So that if that is the case,
make that decision with a clear head.
And with the professional there. Exactly.
Totally.
Because that it is hard to do what he's doing. But what he needs, and I'll tell you why I say that, he needs a purpose. And he can't have a purpose because he's always in survival mode. Because he had to go to Syria and get blown up for.
Well, and I'm telling everyone that's not him, right? Because most of us didn't get blown up. You look at the numbers. There's more of us blowing ourselves up now than there was that got blown up. In the war.
Sure. Yeah, that happens every year, right?
Yeah, we lost 10,000 somewhere around there, a little over that in 15 years of war, and we've lost 60,000 since 2008 from suicide.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
So what we need to tell that person is they also need a mission. And find your life's purpose and go get it. Even if it's micro missions, right? A little bit at a time. When you're accomplishing and it feels good. Keep stimulating yourself with that feel good. There's a way out of it, and it's making shit feel good.
I used to do a lot of odd jobs here in Palo Alto. And when I was walking through from the firehouse out to Stanford, that bad specter hit me hard. Because I was in survival mode and I was obsolete. I couldn't find a job. I couldn't even get a fucking interview. I got a goddamn master's degree and I I could take a brigade and change its focus based on my ability to go out and do my job.
Yeah.
And I come back and I can't get someone to say hello to me about a job.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah.
And just walking through that thing, I want to say that for the audience, so they can understand, like, just me visiting Palo Alto put it on me, put that backpack on. I'm just like, oh, fuck, man. I really, I took care of it. But what if you don't have those tools? What if you don't have the access to it? What if you just can't take any more from that point? It's something simple like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's what recognizing your triggers, right?
Yeah.
Sobriety helped me with that. You know?
Yeah.
Recognizing your triggers and then walking into your trigger and telling that trigger now, like, I'm cool. You're not going to put me down.
Yeah.
It's not avoiding them. I avoided them for a long time. And then I'd get drunk and fall into one and shit would explode, right?
Right.
But walk into it and say, you don't scare me anymore, dude.
Right.
Like, and I know that sounds super like, oh, I've got life figured out.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't. And every day I have my own struggles. Yeah, Adam can tell you. But when all's said and done, I'm not just here.
Yeah.
I'm not just here because, like I said, my brother saved my life. I'm here probably because of what he did.
Yeah.
Because whether it was suicide or dying in a drunken car crash or something stupid.
Yeah.
Getting shot because I got in a fist fight in a street in San Francisco, whatever.
Right.
Like.
Again.
Whatever I did, either way, look at what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And if I wouldn't have made it past that period in my life, my legacy would have been nothing.
Right.
And now I have the pride to tell my son one day, this is everything your father did, and this is everything we did, and I did this for you.
Yeah.
I did this to show you that you can move the entire earth too. And that's what we're shooting to do.